The dream time. When we close our eyes at night, we exit our physical bodies and enter the dream time. Dreaming is not a cessation of consciousness, but rather an alteration of our awareness. We spend a third or more of our lives journeying in alternate dimensions. Whether we remember or believe we do or not, we all do this. The only difference in our experiences lies in the degree of our awareness. Some people are oblivious, others are not. We leave our bodies temporarily every night as the eternal I that we are departs the body to roam the astral planes. I call it the dream time. This is the same place we eventually will pass to when our body dies. The only difference between living and dying is our astral body reunites to the physical as it is waking up in the material dimension every morning. When the material body ceases to function, the astral body stays in the dream time. This astral double is an exact copy of how we look in the physical. The I that animates this body, it doesn't need to sleep, and so it, in astral form, departs for the night, where it goes on about its business. There are many layers and levels to this vast place. Many, many layers. It's immense. And there are different activities we do there. On a very surface level, we carry on problem solving and examining events of our day, kind of like housekeeping. But it goes much deeper than that, and I'll go there in another post. Uninitiated people who smugly state that dreams are only dreams with no real importance in our lives have forgotten who they are. They've fallen into the forgetting. They believe the only reality is this physical. We're not just our bodies. They are our vehicles so that we can experience this physical world, taste its fruits, feel the sunshine, use our hands and minds to create, learn, grow, and to experience firsthand the true bliss of life in physical body, yes. But we are much more than the purely physical. We are imprinted into the implicate order of things. We rise from the etheric field and we come back again and again to the physical as we seek to advance and grow. For life is about expansion. We are constantly seeking to expand. For some of us, this seeking to grow is very suppressed and stunted. In others, it is the focus of our lives. We are all different, and we develop at different paces. Our mission here in this life is to learn to love ourselves and others enough to want the best for ourselves and others, meaning willing to put in the effort required to advance ourselves, souls. We always know deep down what it is we need to do. The trouble is, it's not usually what we want to do. I think from what I learned in the dream time, part of advancement is to learn how to be aware and conscious as the body sleeps, because then we have access to other dimensions and the knowledge to be found there. It's a great opportunity to learn. Most importantly, it's learning in a first-hand way, which is superior to any other. We're here to experience, learn, integrate, and advance our souls. These life lessons are the only things we can bring with us when we depart. Everything else is transient. I'm not saying the physical part of our lives is meaningless. However, far from it. Just that when we go, all we take is the memory. What did we learn? Did we spend our days trying to advance? Or did we spend it in useless things? What did we do? Did we live by the golden rule? Or did we commit crimes left and right? From what Dreamtime has shown me, I've personally come to feel that this is why there are so many lost and unhappy people in our Western society today. We are constantly, mercilessly bombarded with images and messages that tell us material success The accumulation of objects, the attainment of beauty, will bring us happiness, and there is untold misery produced as the fallout. This led to the cult of celebrity. There are people who literally worship these godlike beings who seemingly possess perfect lives, beauty, and happiness, all in first-class style and comfort. I always used to wonder why people are capable of getting so worked up over seeing a celebrity that they scream and cry. They're just a person. I've met a few celebrities in my time, and they are people, not gods. Christine Onassis proved that possession of all the material things of the world money can buy can't buy happiness. This striving after materiality, which we are taught from the cradle, creates a world of separateness, marked by class distinctions, peopled by the rich and the unwashed masses of the have-nots. It is a division away from what is truly abundance for all. I'm not suggesting people throw away their possessions. I'm pointing out there is a need to shift the way we think about these things, what their importance really is, and where the true value in life lies. There are so many people from all parts of society starved for the spiritual home and the joy they once knew. We are instinctively longing for spirituality, for true meaning, clarity, and joy in our lives. We look outside ourselves to the collecting of objects. We fall to drugs and other addictions to dull our pain. We search for answers, for someone else to tell us the way. This is how cults become a reality. And on and on. Because we forgot. We need to remember everything is within us. We have all the answers. We have the power. We have everything we need. We are enough. We are unconsciously homesick for greater vision, for more, for meaning. There is a greater reality out there than the 9-to-5 and paying rent. We seek connection, spirituality. These shores may be hostile now, but if enough people woke up, remembered who they are, changed their awareness, and therefore their actions accordingly, it would literally transform the world. When we travel the great golden road into Dreamtime, we come home and reconnect with a larger reality, which is our source, and which we are very much a part of right now, even if for most of us it's all unconscious. The places we visit at night in our dreams possess as much reality in an altered set of rules and forms as the places we spend our waking days. We're eternal beings. We don't actually sleep. We go out of body as the body rests. And while the body rests, we continue to do things. We learn, we visit, we do housekeeping. We're not unconscious. Even if we don't remember, our eternal self is always aware. Growing in awareness means connecting with that eternal self. We want to enter into a relationship with it, connect back. We got lost along the way somewhere. Imagine what it would mean if you could maintain awareness as your astral self passes out every night into the dream time. How much you could see and learn and do. All that time spent unconscious. Suddenly it's all there for you. When you're lucid, you can travel where you want, do what you want. Want to go to Paris? No problem. You go to Paris. Want to go visit the Akashic Records and read about Rome? No problem. Want to go visit someone more advanced, a mentor? You can do that. Assuming you let them know ahead of time that you planned on dropping in, of course. Suddenly, all kinds of amazing experiences are available. A friend I love dearly died suddenly and tragically at the age of 29. I cared deeply for him. I was inspired to investigate the Dreamtime, to hunt for his spirit, to see that he was okay. I spent years working on my dream recall. Finally, through training my mind, exercising it in the process of remembering, I began to achieve the next level after becoming lucid, which is learning how to stretch that conscious awareness out, maintain it. Before this, however, I began with experiencing lucid dreams till they became quite common. To stretch out awareness, remembering I was there to look for somebody, was a huge help. It keeps you focused to have a goal in mind. Also, when you go to bed, set an intention. I would tell myself, I am searching for name, and I remember what I see. The search to find my friend morphed into something more over the years. It became a process, a path that unrolled before me, leading to a broadening of my awareness while in the waking world, as well as gaining first-hand knowledge in other dimensions. I began to actively experience and interact with others while in the dream time. I sought out coherent, lucid experiences. I'd talk to locals, ask questions, try to bring back their answers, strive to remember to do certain things. For example, look at my hands, look for street signs, ask locals for the name of the place, try transforming objects, shape-shifting them, and myself, etc. An example. I was wandering around in a really beautiful city. It had regular shaped buildings, but it also had pyramids that were covered in gold. These pyramids were just absolutely massive things. The structure sat on a monumental plaza, and it was very beautiful there. I asked several different locals what the name of the city was. They all told me Sidonia. I woke up thinking, that sounds vaguely familiar, but I didn't get it till sometime later. Sidonia is a place on Mars where there are pyramids and the Great Face. I realized that if I was really there when there were people there, they probably didn't call it Sidonia. I don't know what that meant, but that's what they called it. How do you determine if someone you meet in the dream time is a local? And what do I mean by a local? Locals to me, beings I encounter who possess their own self-awareness, and thus I can't shapeshift them. Unlike how the rest of the matter comprising this dimension can be shifted by thought. If you can shift something, a person or an inanimate object, with your mental command, it's dream stuff. If you can't, it's either a real autonomous being, or in the case of a building, for instance, enough people have been there and added energy to it so that it takes on a very solid existence, and one person alone isn't enough to affect it. I found that in general, people behave pretty much as they do in waking life. That is, they're so busy they seem literally unable to see me. Only when I get right in their faces in some instances and actually grab them can I get them to pause long enough to answer or even to see me. One man I stopped in this way behaved like the white rabbit, saying repeatedly, "I have to go. I'm going to be late. I have to go. I'm going to be late." And he took off in a great hurry. It's like I was the ghost in the machine. I wondered if ghosts feel the same way in the material plane, trying to get our attention. Then I got what I thought was a bright idea. I began to ask the locals if they were dreaming. The answers I got were all consistent, but ran the gamut from, "No, of course I'm not dreaming," to, "Aha, that's good. That is really, really good. What you're asking is, am I alive in a physical body that's asleep right now?" And the answer is that, well, no, I'm not presently incarnated. I'm most certainly not dreaming either. And she laughed, very amused. So I felt encouraged to ask, "Would you share with me how you died?" She said, "Certainly. I was in a house fire and didn't make it out in time. The smoke got me. But I'm alive right now, here talking to you. You know we don't die, just the body dies." I said, "Oh, I'm sorry to hear you pass like that." She responded, "Why? I'm not. I'm fine." Studying Dreamtime has led me to the conclusion that this is a real place, not just imagination. I developed my ability to remember to the point of total recall. Total recall means the ability to pass out of the body for the night and back in again without a break in consciousness. You hear the buzzing, feel the vibration, and you just detach from the body. You can stop and look at it as you go, but personally I don't like to do that. Looking at my body creeps me out. But it has allowed me to love it better. I can look at it and see how good it is, how hard it tries to do and be what I want. I consistently return to certain locales. Dreamtime to me in some ways is more real than this waking reality. There are colors there that don't exist here in this world. It is deeper, richer, more profound. Waking reality is a pale reflection of that other place. However, having said that, I want to add that knowing that place has made this physical earth more precious. We are all physically incarnated, like it or not, and part of that time here means spending it firmly planted in the body with our feet on the ground, devoted to purely physical things, and there's nothing wrong with that. The act of remembering to do certain things while in dream time was an important tool I utilized to maintain my awareness, because after the initial excitement of realizing where I was, while I was still there, the burst of happiness at my accomplishment would cause me to lose my grip, and I'd fall right back into the forgetting. What I mean by that is forget that you're aware, slip back into regular dream activity, which is really like sleepwalking. You're sucked into the action going on all around you, fall into a role, and forget who you really are. Once you do that, you have to play by the rules everyone else in the game does. Like, for instance, if I want to exit a room, I have to use a doorway. I can't walk through the wall like I normally would, or I can't fly because of the law of gravity. If everybody thinks it's true, then it is. You lose the ability to do things because you're back to playing a role. I do believe that is also the case here in the waking reality. We're playing roles in a weird way. We've forgotten who we are. If we spend a goodly portion of our waking lives sleepwalking, we also do this in the dream time. It is a vast, incredible land that contains everything we have here on Earth: mountains, trees, animals, oceans, vast cities, and more. Vistas that are more beautiful and alien than words can describe. And terrifying places too. Buddhists say that enlightenment is total awakeness, awareness. Western society discourages and discounts all validity of this reality, experiences, and knowledge available to us in this alternate dimension. How many times have I heard it? It's only a dream. People say it so smugly, with such assurance, but they speak in ignorance. The truth is quite otherwise. We're missing out on a third or more of our lives, handing away our power and the experience of a reality that is deep and rich and amazing. I must enter a word of caution. Most books on this subject only touch on the light and fluffy side. I have to say that if you're unsure, or if you have trouble handling reality as you know it now, I would advise you to stop. Don't go exploring into this. This is something that is like a Pandora's box. Once opened, it cannot be closed, the knowledge unlearned. There are dangers out there. It's like any situation in which there are things that could harm you. If you don't know what you're doing, you can get hurt, even die. Hard to say how many times that's happened to explorers as they don't come back to tell about it. You want to know how to protect yourself. There are different levels of dream time. Different entities inhabit these levels. Some are merely humans. Some are not and have never been human. And just as it is here, some beings are good, some evil. There are monsters. There are animated thought forms that can hurt the unwary also. You must tread cautiously. People who roam the dream time and the forgetting are of little consequence to these beings, but when you are lucid, aware, and fully present, you become a person of interest. Your awareness will shine like a beacon and attract attention. You will meet other travelers like yourself, plus other dimensional beings. So, you will need to learn and remember techniques to protect yourself. Number 1, if it's too terrifying, you can wake yourself up. Do it before anything can lay hold of you. 2, remember that the rule over there is that thoughts are things with real power when coupled with expectation and desire. Everything is ruled by thought. If you desire to do something with perfect expectation and confidence that it will happen, it happens instantly. For example, I used to struggle to see over there. I finally realized why. I was in my thought form body, which is perfect. I don't need glasses. When I removed them, I could see perfectly. Or just the simple act of flying. At first, I'd flap my arms running down a road, struggling to lift off. I'd climb trees or jump off fences. Then I started to imagine it as a force under my feet that pushed me along. That was uncomfortable, though. I would end up laying on my back as I flew, feet first, unable to see where I was going, feeling all the time like I was about to slip off and fall. I went from that to visualizing a ball of power in my fists, and this would power me along, with my body trailing along behind. Sometimes I didn't even have a body. I would just be the ball. I actually rather enjoyed that method. Then I realized I didn't even have to do that. I could teleport. In one experiment I did, I declared aloud that when I walk through that door, I will find myself in outer space. I walked through the door and found myself so high up in space over the planet that the curvature of the Earth was clearly visible under my feet, and almost gave myself a heart attack. I experienced dual awareness. Me in space and me, my physical body, at home in bed through the umbilical, jerk violently and start gasping for air. I panicked and immediately began to fall. I had to wake myself up. The planet is impossibly gorgeous from out there, by the way. 3, there's all sorts of things you can do. You are limited only by your imagination. What you desire, expect, and know to be true is real. It's possible. That is why it's so important to be aware. The rules are different. I repeat again, desire, expectation, and belief is everything. I think I would also add right here that, interestingly enough, that rule actually works when you're awake as well. But anyhow, you can freeze things attacking you and then explode them. You can cover yourself in an aura of protection. You can cast lightning or fire. You can have a sacred space, an altar in waking reality. On that, you place a power object. This power object can emit laser beams like a ray gun or whatever you want it to do. And then, when you're in dreamtime, you can materialize it and keep it on you for protection. Personally, I rather prefer casting lightning and stuff out of my own body. You can also surround yourself with an invisibility screen or cloak. I've done that. I have to add, though, results depend on the awareness of the thing you're attempting to avoid. That screen or cloak might work just fine on a discarnate human and not fool a non-human who is as aware or even more aware than you are. You could surround yourself in light, but really just being aware is going to make you shine with light, so that's maybe not the best protection there. Sometimes it's better to just become invisible. It depends on the circumstance. You can shapeshift into something swift or something fearsome and powerful. I've transformed into a werewolf while defending myself, for example. I have become a centaur while running through the woods. And wow, that was amazing. To feel what it's like to have such an incredibly powerful body, to be able to run like that. 4, sometimes the frightening things you have chasing you are things that you can transform by asking them how you can help them. Because sometimes the terrifying things chasing you are actually detached splinters of yourself, rejected parts seeking to reunite with you. If you acknowledge it and ask how you can help it, it will be absorbed into yourself where it was trying to go, and you become more integrated and therefore more powerful. Sometimes they become allies, like a totem animal, for instance. When I first started out on my own journey into the Dreamtime, I knew nothing of all this. I knew no one else personally who had any interest or experience. I was out there alone. I learned all I know by personal experience. By year 4 or 5, I was having lucid dreams at least 3 or more times a week. I met a shaman. The teacher appears when the student is ready, who taught me a lot over about 3 years. It took me years before I was ready to meet my teacher. Don't let it discourage you. Everyone has his or her own timing. I may be a slow learner. It will probably be different for you. Life is a process. Developing your own abilities so that you can experience this stuff for yourself is a commitment, an investment of your time, focus, and energy. Make sure you keep a journal. This is vital for many reasons. Progress won't happen unless you take the work involved seriously. It's not a game. That being said, though, laughter is definitely a part of the process. The universe does have a sense of humor, but be warned, prepare to have your perceptions of reality, both of Dreamtime and also of this waking world, altered forever. In the beginning, your first goal is to begin recording your dreams. You are training your mind to recall, to maintain awareness by forcing it to focus. Keep a book under your pillow with a pen or a handheld tape recorder. As soon as you wake, don't move. The dream will evaporate if you do. Reach slowly, eyes closed, for your preferred recording instrument and start recalling everything you can, writing it down or talking into the recorder. I used to write with my eyes closed. Then get up, open up your computer, and begin transcribing what you just wrote. What happens then is more recall will pop out. If you wrote, for instance, she was wearing pants and a sweater, you may find yourself writing, she wore black pants and a yellow sweater. It glowed in the sunshine. More detail. What eventually happens is you'll be in a dream and think to yourself, oh my God, I have to remember this. And you're lucid. Then the next thing is to maintain that lucidity awareness, stretching out the time. It's a process. For now, work on your dream recall. The conscious recall, coupled with the physical action of transcribing, becomes the path. You are exercising a muscle. You are also actually carving new neural pathways. This takes time and effort, and it's work, like learning how to play a piano. Nothing worth doing is ever easy. As in anything, you crawl before you run, run before you fly. If you keep at it, you will truly learn to fly. High Priestess ZolaLuckyStar, Truth for Satan Ministries. My wisdom is not separate from my heart.